Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 4 of the Tech Virtual Summit. My name is Nina Sclafani. I'm the Senior Events Coordinator for Tech, and you are in Simplify Blended and Remote Learning with LearnerPal. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. I just want to allow some time for more people to enter the room. I hope you've been enjoying the summit so far. We've had amazing presentations, great presenters. There's so much valuable information that we have heard over the past 4 days. And as a courtesy, convenience, whatever to all of you, we have created a YouTube page where you will be able to access all of those presentations. There is no password required. I will share that link in the chat box in a little bit. And I will also include that in the follow-up email that you will receive following the session. If you are just joining us, welcome to Simplify Blended and Remote Learning with LearnerPal. I'm going to wait just one more minute to let more people into the room. And from there, we will go over some housekeeping notes on how to ask questions throughout the session, how to interact with your fellow attendees to maximize your experience. Like I said, this is day 4 of the Tech Virtual Summit. This is our second virtual summit that we've had. I don't know if how many of you attended our first one, but it was a great success. So we decided we just had to do it again. And we are already in the midst of trying to figure out when we're going to run our third session. Because right now we know teachers, educators across the board, you all need information on how to manage this time of remote and hybrid learning, and Tech is always here to help. All right, we are going to get started. My name is Nina Sclafani. I am the Senior Events Coordinator for Tech, and welcome to Simplify Blended and Remote Learning with LearnerPal. If you are new to Zoom, take your mouse and scroll over your screen. At the bottom, you'll see a toolbar come up, and there you will see a chat box and a Q&A box. Click on both of those and have those pop out. I encourage you to use the chat to let us know where you're from, what you teach, and if there's any information that you think is really valuable that you want to share with the attendees, the chat box is the perfect place to put that information. However, if you have a question, make sure to write it in the Q&A box. Keith from LearnerPal is going to be moderating that question box, and he'll address any questions that you have. If he doesn't get to your question, Brian, our speaker today, is going to address those all at the end. And last, if you are looking for some sort of certification of attending this session, we are going to include a line of copy in our follow-up email that is proof of your attendance to this session. In that email, you'll also receive a link to the recording of this session and a link to the presentation slide deck so that you can review it and keep your learning going. With that, I would like to introduce Brian Rogers from LearnerPal. He is going to be leading us today. Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, everybody. All righty, so I am going to share my screen. Let's go from the beginning. All right, so everybody, welcome. I'm going to spend a little time going over LearnerPal and talking about what we do at LearnerPal, a little bit about the company and how we help with online learning, especially valuable during this time. So as Nina had said, I'm going to go through a brief presentation, then I'll do a system demo. If you have any questions at any point, feel free to enter it into the chat box, and we will address your question. And hopefully we address all your questions within the presentation. So a little bit about LearnerPal. We've been around for about 8 years at this point. We are heavily engaged in the New York State area. We speak to a lot of teachers quite often, especially over the past 6 months. We hear a lot of the same concerns. Now, these concerns vary, but some of the typical concerns that we hear from our teachers are, with the transition over to remote learning or a hybrid model, they have to come up with digital content, and where do they get this content? And they spend so much time building out content that they kind of lose focus on some of the important things, such as teaching. We also hear a lot of times that the content that they do have is not super engaging, and they need to make sure that their students are engaged, and that's a challenge with remote learning. We hear that, well, we already have too many platforms. We can't have our kids learn another platform or go to another platform, and we manage too many user accounts as it is, so these are just headaches that teachers have. We hear quite often that teachers don't want to set up additional classes in another platform and maintain additional classes in another platform. So during this transition has caused some pain, caused some anxiety, and we definitely have a platform that can help with these pain points. So one of the things that we have been doing for 8 years is simplifying online learning. And that's kind of our motto. We want to, it's our goal, it's our mission, simplify online learning. We do not believe that online learning should be a challenge that teachers have to learn these intense platforms and these super complicated platforms to get the benefits of online learning. So what we do is we provide a very, very intuitive, easy to use platform that comes stock with pre-made digital content. So teachers can use our content, they can modify our content, they can bundle our content. So there's a lot of different things they can do, and they can assign it. But we also give the ability for teachers to create their own content. And this is one of the features that we've seen a lot over the past several months as we move into this new phase of learning and teaching. We see a lot of teachers building their own content or bringing in their content, either uploading it or just bringing it right in from Google Drive into LearnerPal and then sharing it maybe and assigning it. So we have the concept of online activities, and these activities could be questions activities, they could be videos, hyperlinks. I'm going to show you all of these documents. And these activities can be bundled into an online course. So the teachers can assign just a video. They can assign a set of questions. The questions they could be an assessment, or they can be basically practice activities where students will get feedback. Maybe they'll get a short video explaining what they did wrong. It's ideal for classwork. We see a lot of teachers that use it throughout the day, and that's always been the case, and it has picked up steam over the past during COVID. But we've always seen teachers using it throughout the day for supplemental classwork or as part of their strategy day to day. We also see a lot of homework assignments being given, review and test prep, or they could just use it for assessment purposes. We have a robust suite of reporting that teachers can utilize to basically track engagement, progress, areas of need, where they need more work maybe, and areas where they excel. And we can get into the reporting as well. So just to touch base a little bit more on the content, we offer stock content right out of the box in multiple subject areas. Our content is multilingual, so if a student pops up a question, they can set it to the default language. Right now we have a few languages built into this system, and we could add more upon request. So these activities, the student will see them in their own language, and they get to get explanations and hints in their own language as well. Once again, they can build out these activities and bundle them into a larger course if a teacher so chooses. Teachers can also build or upload their own content, as I had mentioned previously. So we have easy to use tools in the system that lets teachers create their own questions, upload questions, upload videos, documents right from Google Drive or their desktop. One of the great benefits that we've also seen during this time period is the ability for teachers to share and collaborate. So as content being a pain point for a lot of teachers and building out these activities, we have a feature that allows teachers to go in and build out a course, and they could do it with other teachers. So they can collaborate with each other, build out a course that meets their needs, and they could share it amongst their department. Obviously, that reduces the amount of time all of the teachers need to focus on building out courses because they can share the burden here. One of the things that we have done new, and this is probably one of our most used features at this point, is that we now are integrated into Google Classroom and Google itself. So it's a perfect complement to Google at this time. You don't have to use it with Google. I just want to make that clear. We are a freestanding platform. We have been for 8 years. However, as we try to reduce the amount of platforms and classrooms you have to manage, we have integrated to Google. So now students, they don't even have to log in to LearnerPal. Their activities, their assignments are waiting for them right in Google Classroom. So it's one less system or platform that you have to worry about. We do have automatic grading, so that eases the burden on teachers. So when the questions are answered, we automatically grade them, and we have in-depth reporting that, again, we have detailed reporting that we'll go through, and these reports are, once again, because of our integration into Google, it automatically is reported back into Google. So talking a little bit more about the stress of multiple websites and having to send their students, teachers send their students to different platforms for different assignments or different activities, we really tried to reduce that stress of multiple websites. Your Google classes will automatically be synced into LearnerPal. So you won't have to create your classes in LearnerPal. You won't have to maintain them in LearnerPal. All you have to do is log in using your Google ID, and your classes will magically appear waiting for you in LearnerPal. Again, when changes occur in Google Classroom, those changes will reflect in LearnerPal. Students, again, don't have to log into LearnerPal. They log right into Google Classroom, and that's where their LearnerPal assignments will be waiting for them. And we do have single sign-on to LearnerPal with Google ID for teachers and students, reducing the amount of logins and passwords that you would have to remember. The reporting, once again, we have very detailed reports, but we do send high-level reporting right into Google. So Google, you have all your grades in one place. We're going to send this presentation out, but if you have questions on anything LearnerPal related, please contact sales@learnerpal.com and just mention Tech Virtual Summit, and we will certainly get back to you as soon as possible. So that being said, maybe this is a good break point if there are any questions that I can answer before even getting into the platform.
All right, Brian, I did see there was one question from Ira. It was answered, but it's worth sharing with everyone. Is there a list of all pre-made activities we can see today? Is it searchable? If yes, is it searchable by grade, subject, or Common Core?
Oh, fantastic. I will certainly go through that. I will definitely answer that question as I go through this, and if you need further explanations, I'm happy to go deeper into it, but I'll definitely go through that. All right, so let me begin the presentation. Again, I just wanted to kind of put this out there that LearnerPal is freestanding. So the demo that I'm giving today will center around Google Classroom and LearnerPal as an integrated solution, but if you don't use Google Classroom, you can do everything that I'm going to show you right now with LearnerPal without Google Classroom. We've been doing that for 8 years. So you have a choice either way, but I'm going to demo as an integrated solution. So for this demo, I wanted to just point out over here in the top right-hand corner that I'll be using a teacher account. Here's my name, Brian Rogers, and this will be the teacher account. So this is my Google Classroom for my teachers. All right. I'm also going to navigate away from this every once in a while to show you my student account. So now my student account will be the one that has the blue B, and it's a different name. All right, so this is my student account, and I'm going to take you through the process of creating an assignment, assigning it to my student, showing you what the student sees, showing you how the student accesses that particular assignment, and then show you how the reporting works. So I'll be clear to explain to you as I navigate from a teacher account into a student account. I'll always be clear to point that out. So just to start again, here's my student account. You'll see the student is enrolled in 3 different classes. All right, and notice that there are no assignments currently waiting for this particular student. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that. As a teacher, I'm going to go in there and assign an activity for them. So now I'm back to my teacher account, okay, Brian Rogers, teacher account. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by logging into LearnerPal. So again, remember we talked about your single sign-on with Google. So I'm going to just single sign-on right here. And it's going to bring me into LearnerPal. And what I'd like to do is take you for a very quick spin. You'll see here that's loading up my Google classes. So when I log in, first thing it does is it looks at my Google classes and says, all right, have there been any changes, additions, removals of students? And then it will make adjustments into LearnerPal. All right, so my classes are all set. These classes were created in Google, and they were just synced from Google to LearnerPal. And what I wanted to do to answer Ira's question is kind of walk through and show you some of the pre-made activities and pre-made courses that we have. So let me start by going to the profile window for a second. When I go to the profile, you'll see that this particular teacher has access to certain content areas: algebra, earth science, global history, English. Let me see if I have anything behind there. U.S. history. Let's see if I could add something here. I'm going to add geometry. Am I missing anything? I think I'm missing living environment. So I'm going to add living environment. And I think that's all my courses. What I've just done is I've given myself access to more content areas. As a teacher, you may not want this many areas of content. You might not want to see all of these subjects and all of these activities. So you can limit what you see right here in the profile. I'm going to give myself access to a lot of different content areas for the purpose of the demo. You'll see here that I'm also an English speaking user, so I'll set to English, but I could change it to Arabic or Spanish if I so choose. Again, what this means is I'll see all my content in that language going forward. I could go through a demo of that if you're interested as well. I'm in the social studies department, and let me now kind of walk through here. The question that Ira had was,
I think we are experiencing maybe a little glitch here. Um, Brian, I think that you froze up for a second, and it's still a little frozen, or a lot of frozen.
go back a second. Oh no, my
There we go. You're moving
I'm
again.
sorry.
That's okay. Technology.
Yes. All right. So you'll see here right now I have a bunch of different courses listed here. Some of them are created by me. Some of them are created by LearnerPal. I can show you how I can filter. I know that was part of the question, so I'm going to only show LearnerPal courses. I wanted to narrow that down, I can narrow it down through here, and I could say, well, let me see an algebra course, and that's by default. Maybe I want to see my U.S. history and government course, and maybe I want to see ones that were created by multiple myself. Maybe I created them as part of a bigger group of people with my coworkers. So maybe I have a shared course. But you'll see here, these are the courses that I currently have. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just start off, and again, let's just take a brief look as to what a course is. A course can be whatever you want it to be, so I'm just going to take it through a quick view. And you'll see I can assign it. I could look at it as a student. I could share it out. I could do multiple things here. So as I go through this, you'll see that I have some learning activities. These are videos, maybe they are documents, and I have some question activities. And I say, oh, this looks really good. Let's assign this out. All right, so now it's going to ask me, what do I want to assign? I want to assign the whole course. And I'm going to assign this. And I'm going to, you'll see here that I could differentiate if I'd like. I could send just to certain people, or I could assign to everybody. You may recognize this is the user that I have in my Google Classroom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up an assignment for this particular user as well as the whole class. And I'll put a due date out in the future, and I'll click on assign. Now, just a couple of other things as we're getting this assignment over to the student to talk about with the courses. You'll see it brings me to my assignments tab over here. But I just want to touch base on a little bit more about the courses. There's a lot of different things you can do. What we've seen a lot of teachers doing from February straight through summer school, we see a lot of teachers building out their courses together, putting their resources in a course. Maybe it's a document. Maybe they use our questions to supplement or to ask questions after the document or a video. And we see them sharing this out a lot. So we're getting very good feedback with that. And you could create, that's how they do, they create a new course and they share that out. So I just assigned a course to my student. Let's just take a look over here. So now I'm back in as the student. Remember, here's my student account. And I'm going to just do a little refresh on this page. Oh, let me make sure something here. I make sure that I send it into the right classroom here. So let me go back to my constitutional and let me assign it again. Go through the process one more time. I might not have put it into the right classroom. So I'm going to assign it to everybody. Okay, so it's right now what it's doing is it's assigning it out, the course, to the students, to the various classes that we have selected. And it does take a second because I am on Wi-Fi, so it takes a little bit longer. Okay. Now let's see, I'm logged in as my student again. Okay, you'll see here, I have my constitutional principles right here waiting for me. So now as a student, I didn't have to log into LearnerPal. I didn't have to do anything. I logged into my Google Classroom. And when I click on the link, I see my LearnerPal assignment waiting for me. And now you get to see what a course looks like. And again, the course can look however you'd like it to look. Our structured courses that we provide out of the box may look a little different than this, but this is a very good example. You'll see here that we have the due date. We have the name of the unit. We have, in this particular course, we have a document that we've attached. We have a video, a flashcard activity, and we have some questions. So Let's just take a quick look over here. I'll just show you some different types. So we have a video, and this is just a video that I've taken off the internet, but you could create your own videos and upload or take a video off the internet. All right, and then it could be any video that you so choose. So the students can watch a video. Let me go back to my assignment. And after the video, if they so choose, they can go to their flashcards. Okay, and they can go through their flip cards over here. Or they can go through questions. So you'll see this. Well, this is a typical question that we have over here. We call these vocabulary skill builders. All right, so these are a type of questions that we include in our default offering, and these will help students that need help with their vocabulary skill building. So you'll see here that the students can go in here and make a selection, and I could submit my answer, and then they get an explanation. Right, so this is a typical activity that we have. I'm going to show you a couple different types of activities. Let me just submit this activity. At the end of every activity, you'll see this is a report that you're going to start to get used to. You'll see this, where the student will be provided the same information that the teacher will have as well, by the way. The name of the activity, the score, how much time they spent in that particular activity. And then it will go through and show you each question that the student got right or wrong. And then we have other types of questions here. So these other questions will get a little deeper, and we have thousands of questions. We have thousands of questions in the system that are there for you to choose from, but these are just some of the examples that we have. I can take a hint if I wanted to have a hint. And if I wanted to, I can make my selection. And again, then I would have my explanation. Before I go any further, does anybody have any interest in seeing how this looks multilingual? So maybe in Spanish. I could spend a minute for that if you're interested. Okay, so let me move back on to the teacher role for a second. Now, as a teacher, I could also assign activities. I'm going to go back to that original question, how can we sort and filter? I want to maybe assign an algebra activity, and maybe I want to just assign some questions. And I want to make sure that LearnerPal was the creator of these activities. So I see an activity over here. Maybe I want to assign this activity to my student. And let me assign it into my algebra class. I'm going to assign it to all my classes. But in my algebra class, once again, you see my student, Brian Rajanetsky, is right here. I'm going to put a date out in the future, August 28th. And I am going to assign this activity. Let's make it a practice. So you're going to notice that math will be a little different than what I've just showed you. We treat all subject areas a little bit differently. For math, we realized very early on that having text-based explanations probably would not be the best way to do this. And if we wanted to make this engaging for the students, we use a video instead. So let me, now that I've done that assignment, you'll see here, it's been assigned to the class. I'm going to go back to my my student over here, and I'm going to go back to my classes. So again, I'm in as a student now, and I'm going to go into my algebra class, and you'll see here's my assignment waiting for me. And when I click on it, once again, it's going to bring me into LearnerPal. Now, again, math's a little different. I don't know if I have any math teachers. I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm probably going to get these questions wrong. So you'll see here is the question. I can always take a hint if I wanted to. And then I can answer my question. Now, I'm not sure if you hear the audio.
We can hear it a little bit popping in and out, but it's very spotty.
Okay. So each of our videos, I'm putting on mute right now, but you'll be able to see that our videos are annotated and they are narrated by an actual teacher, and they're very, very specific to the actual question that they just had. One of our goals is to make sure that all of our videos are under 2.5 to 3 minutes because we want to keep their attention. Again, this is all about engagement, keeping the students engaged and on task. So let me just kind of go to another question. I'll just do a few of these questions over here. Oh, I submitted an activity. So again, you'll see here, I got a very poor score on this. I spent 1 minute 23 seconds in this particular one, and then the students can go through here, and they could always use this as a study tool, go through and see what they got correct, what they got wrong. All right. So still in as a student, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my teacher role. And before I move further, does anybody have any questions on anything that I've shown so far that you want me to go maybe more in detail, or? Nothing in the chat box?
I don't see anything in the chat box.
All right. So once again, I'm in the teacher role here, and teachers have very very detailed reporting available to them. So before I go into the reporting, I do want to kind of touch base. I'll show you a very quick ad hoc report. If I wanted to, I can go right to my assignment, and I could look at view progress. And this will show me everybody that is in a class, what they've gotten, what they've, how they've progressed so far on the particular assignment. This level of reporting is submitted to Google, so that's available in LearnerPal and Google. As a teacher, I might want to create new activities. So here's one of the things that I do want to spend 2 or 3 minutes on. And this is really where we're seeing a lot of teachers get into LearnerPal and doing more and more of these days. You'll see here that I could create different types of activities. I could create question activities. They're the ones that you just saw. We bundle questions together, and you can create a question activity. I'll go really, really briefly through this. Tech questions, and let's put this in with algebra, and let's go. So now I select my algebra questions, and you'll see here I have the ability to filter through different categories and subcategories if I wanted to. And when I see a question that I like or that I want to look at more, I could take a look, and then I could just start adding my questions to my activity. And it's as simple as that. I could right now save and assign. I could put it in a course if I wanted to, but let's not do that. I could save and assign really quickly, and in about 1 minute flat, I created a question activity and I assigned it out to my class. All right. Again, I apologize, it's going a little slow. It's the remote on Wi-Fi. All right, so you'll see here's my question. It's been assigned out. Let's go through really quickly. Maybe I want to create a different type of activity. Maybe I want to go through and LearnerPals flashcards and select a bunch and assign them out. Same process that I just showed. Maybe I want to go and create an activity based on a document. So maybe this is handout, and I'm going to do again, let's say I do US history and government. I could upload right from my desktop, or I could go right to Google Drive, upload it, and there's my document activity ready to go. Create a new video activity, same thing. I go in here, maybe I call this my video. Once again, it's associated with US history and government. I could upload from my desktop, or I could upload right from Google Drive. And last but not least, let's say I don't want to use my own activities, my own videos. Maybe I've seen a video that I love on Khan Academy. I could put the link in right here and save it and assign it. So once again, we see a lot of activity around the state, people going in, creating their activities, uploading their own content, sharing their content, building out a content ecosystem that really makes it simple to find content. It kind of takes that content worry away from teachers. So I have a few more minutes. I can walk you through really quickly one more thing that I've mentioned several times over here. So here's our report center. And in the report center, you'll see here that we have reports based on assignment. We can get reports based on something called a grade tracker, which I'll show you momentarily. We can look at our course report, student report, and activities. So let me just take you through a really, really quick high-level report. So this is a grade tracker, a little bit of a high-level report. What I'm going to do, I'm sorry, I apologize about this. I'm going to very quickly log in with an account that has a little bit more data to show you. So I'm going to go back to my reports. Let's go to grade tracker. And I'm going to select US history and government. And I want to see how my students did in various categories and subcategories in US history. So you'll see here that I can run a query based on particular periods, or I can narrow it down to students. I'm going to say all students. I want to see all my students, see how they did. But I could do individual by selecting on the individual. When we look through here, you'll see here that I could expand on a category. So industrialization, I could expand down. And now you can see high level, top level, students did not do too well in industrialization, 64% accuracy. I could go deeper and I could go down and say, whoa, here's the problem. Their vocabulary is weak, or maybe they're not very strong on imperialism. So this report gives you a very high level understanding of where you need to make your instruction, maybe change your instruction or focus your instruction a little bit more based on how they've done on previous questions. You can go deeper. You can look at the assignment report. So what the assignment report will do is it's going to take you through all the different assignments that you signed out to your classes. And I'm going to look for one that has a little data. Hopefully I can find one that has some data. Let's just pick any old one. So apologies for this. Just want to find one that has data. I can click on a particular assignment, And this is going to give you a little bit of an overview of how you can read this report. All right, so you see here that there's going to be two different views. I could look by student or by class. And we're going to start off by looking at the student level. All right, so when I look at this particular assignment, you'll see here that the average score was 0, as I showed you. We didn't really have anybody doing anything. And we'll go through and it will list all your students out here. It'll show you the progress. It'll show you their score, how much time they spent. And then you can click on the magnifying glass to get further details. If I wanted to do a class analysis, I could also do a class analysis, which will roll up all of the data from the students into one big class. So now I have an aggregate. And I could go through this particular assignment, and I could look at this and say, well, on question 1, here's my disbursement of answers. And it would show you, here's the correct answer. If I had data on here, it might show you 10 questions were answered incorrectly here, and 20 were answered correctly. But then you could find out where the class is answering incorrectly. So this could take you right down to the level of questions, and you can see where the students are struggling. So those are kind of high-level reporting overview. I do see a question came in. I do know that I'm kind of running low on time, so let me. The question is, are most teachers creating their own courses or using the pre-made courses? So let me move on back to the courses for a second. The answer to that is, pre-COVID, I would say a lot of teachers were using our structured courses. So they were doing that in various degrees. So they might take our course right here, Global History and Geography. And what we saw a lot was the teachers would go in here and they would duplicate it. When they duplicate it, what that does is it gives them a unique, so let's call this My Global, My Department's Global. So this is what we were seeing a lot of. We would duplicate our courses. And what that does is it takes our course and it's like a save as. So now the students, the teachers rather, would go right through the our course and they would make modifications to our courses. Let me just, all right. So here's My Department Global. And this is what we've seen the most of over the past 7, 8 years. They would take our course and then they would modify it. So then they could come in here and they can make edits, because you cannot edit a LearnerPal course, but you can edit the saved version. And then we see a lot of teachers historically go in here and make their modifications for our courses. Maybe they reorder, maybe they add their own content, maybe they remove some content. We also have seen a huge uptick, I would say, over the past 5 or 6 months in teachers creating their courses from scratch. So they would just go in and they would create their own new course. It's a wizard base, so it kind of walks you through everything, really, really simple to do on how to do it. But we've seen a huge uptick in that as well. So it's hard to answer. We do see them using mostly LearnerPal courses, but I would say probably an even split of them are taking our courses and modifying them to meet their needs better. I see another, oh, that's the one question. Okay, so there was Ira's questions. I think I got that. So it's 12:45. I do want to set aside some time. If anybody has anything that they'd like me to go over, it maybe deeper, or they have any questions, I'm happy to answer at this point. So the question that just came in is, what do I hear teaches the biggest time saver by using LearnerPal? Undoubtedly, pre-COVID, it was the pre-made content that they got to share amongst themselves and amongst their department. was the pre-made courses. Teachers didn't have to scramble. They didn't have to go everywhere after COVID happened, and we saw a change in how teachers were teaching remotely. We heard that even more. The ability for them to share content and to easily build content became a huge time saver for them. So they didn't have to spend a ton of time. We had the content. Now, after Google integration, we did that. We integrated to Google several months back, and I think that right now is the biggest thing that we hear from teachers, is that Google Classroom doesn't come with content. So now if you're using Google Classroom, well, now you have content that you can easily assign into Google Classroom, saving them a lot of time and effort in building out questions and then, you know, grading, because we self-grade. Everything is automatically graded in LearnerPal. So I think what we hear now is a lot of teachers talking to us about how Google integration has saved them a lot of time and effort in building out content and the automatic grading of that content in LearnerPal. Any other questions or anything else I could show you, or I could walk you through?
In the meantime, I just want to remind everyone that this session is going to be available as a recording on our YouTube page. So if you'd like to share it with any of your colleagues, feel free to do so there. They won't need a password or anything to access that page. I'm also going to be sharing with you all the slide deck of what Brian used today so that you can review it on your own time. All right, if we don't have any other questions coming in, Brian, I want to thank you so much for presenting during our virtual summit. It's been really wonderful having you.
Thank you, Dina. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you, everyone. And just so you know, at 1 o'clock, we have active learning strategies to address learning loss. That is with Mary Beth and Matt from Smart Technologies. So make sure to register for that. If you haven't done so yet, you can do that at the tech.com page. There's the events tab. Click into that. You'll see the Tech Virtual Summit, and you can register there.
Oh, Nina, I just saw a question come
Oh,
up.
what do we have? Is there a record that the student watched the video you assign?
Yes, we do have records of everything. So as you go through the reporting, everything that the student touches, the amount of time that the student was engaged, it's all recorded.
Excellent. And Brian, if there are any other questions that maybe the audience hasn't thought of yet, where can they reach out to you?
So brogers@learnerpal.com, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.